have some revelations about numbers, organization, time. People want to look at these things different ways. And it's good to. First off, just saying numbers and timing are hugely important. They are part of relational webbing, developmental order. It's all music. So if you think of it like that, maybe it'll make sense. If you are somebody that cares about putting fashion together, you have a sense of how things go together just right, you may have also another way of saying, this is all just fashion. That might make sense to you. But it's important to understand there's different energies in the world. There are 13 in the astrology system I look at. I like to choose the odd way. I am a transgender man. Odd numbers are masculine. I'm somebody who chose to masculinize physically to match my masculine gender. I could have been a female, a body, socially passing as female person, and be masculine. That was one path. And I chose to masculinize my body just out of euphoria. And it's an odd thing to do. And it's extra odd because odd numbers are masculine. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Those are the oddies of the zodiac. The zodiac is a belt of stars, constellations going around our Earth at a certain belt, you know. And of course, we have the first one.
No.
Of course, we have the first one. And then, of course, there's the second. And then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You know what I'm going to say next. We don't make up numbers. They're happening. You see how it was a river? From where one started, you had to have two. The word for two describes the thing that comes after one. And the word for three describes the thing that comes after two. And it's the only thing, you know. People say there's no essential gender essentialism. Well, there's number essentialism. Like a one is usually like has these qualities of this by the nature of it going first. And a two has a nature of this by nature of going second after a one in particular. There can only be a two because there's two now. So if you're a two and after you comes a three, you know, and you're a three, if you are the thing that joins to become the two or become the three or become the four, you're talking about in any system a certain nature. Whether it's the moon's phase, the season, the birth order of your childhood and your life and your family siblinghood, you know, the age, the height, the status and rank of your position at work. In orchestras, we really blatantly see it because they have first and second chair, right? And things after that, right? Sports often have this too. And so, anyways, after a three becomes a four. And we have these vacillations, you might notice, between even and odd. And if the odds are masculine, we can assume the evens are feminine. Well, it's because they're balanced, stable, peaceful. And then comes after even number is an odd number, which is unstable. It's more restless in search for stability. And it has activity to it, activation because of that instability. Um, and the different odds have their own natures, like the one and the three. And the three is different, right? Comes after the two, has this whole other kind of nature to it. Well, the five is gonna have a whole other nature to it. Like if you're the one who comes after a four, say there's a nice crossroads of a four, a nice square, steady foundation, and you come in like five, high five. Well, our body's kind of a five. A lot of the patterns of the rose family are fives. You know the roses make a lot of our fruits. You should look into that. We have a lot of roses in our world. Let's just say that, and we are in a rose. They are the flower of our heart. So we we look at the fives as this interesting thorny reality of like all sides merging into one in that impossible place of center. Well, the fifth element of center is a necessary portal to jump through, a necessary gate of crossroads there that makes to go through, transform through into real reality, which is that things have a spiritual dimension, a physical dimension, and a mental, emotional, spiritual, social dimension. Um, sorry, three dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Mental, emotional, in our case, I would say is kind of a social dimension. But there's a lot of between these places, and that's also another place that the fifth element pops itself in. It's like this place where it's in between, like us. We're very much in between these things, bridging them. So that's the fives. There's a peacemaker there, if you can do it right. You have the stability of the fours, and you're a unifier, harmonizer. That's nice. Of course, after that is the sixes of belonging. So once you've aligned with center and brought all sides together there, well, you go to six. What comes after five is a six. That's belonging in the zodiac. That's the Geminis. It's about the three and the three, and there's two of them. So you got body, mind, and spirit aligned, and your twins. Your twins are your inner masculine and feminine, the inner left and right, the duality. We live in a binary universe. Everything has a duality, and so the sixes is kind of like I say the sixes is like Gemini because in the tarot, the sixth tarot is the Lover's card, which is Gemini. But I'll back up because the six actually, if you're going around the zodiac wheel by month, is Cancer, and you're gonna sploosh in the summer of Cancer's waters in the number six because when you have that wholeness of belonging, it feels so good. And actually, Cancer and Gemini share a cusp. There's this sense of like when you get that Lover's right in the third house, you know, you go into the fourth house of Cancer, which is stability, and what that does through the sixth month of the year in July, which I'm just playing around with different numbers and natures, y'all. Follow me if you will. Um, you're gonna find this beautiful resonance with your embodied joy. That's what Cancer's job is, and to do that healing there. Transmute sadness into joy and pleasure, and follow your body and intuition and emotions into the oceans and waters of life, and ideally healing and feeling and nurturing life. So I do feel that that's the goal because the brightest light goes there. The summer solstice is caught in the waters of Cancer's cauldron. And I think there's a really big purpose to us embodying the stars in our cauldron, remembering we're mostly water, and being a dream vessel here, a dream catcher and orator, a narrator of a song of a dream that is unique to each of us. Um, that's a real Cancerian thing. It's like singing a lullaby and then wanting your children to be their true selves. This is the family's wish on the breath of every sixth month of the year of Cancer, the mother who catches the big sun and of the summer solstice and holds the reflection there of the true divine nature of every child. That we are a divine child, and there is a divine nature, and every mother knows that. It's impossible to not feel that. You know, even if you're not spiritual, it's impossible to not feel the sacredness of a child. Like, you know, even if you don't like children, there's just a sacredness. There's a glowing. Anyways, we're here. After that is the seventh house, 7th month of the year. It goes into Virgo, and yeah, that's interesting. Um, you know, in terms of the zodiac, it's really what I wanted to say because I'm extremely a astrology nerd. I love that wheel. I love the 13 in there. A lot of people don't acknowledge Ophiuchus. I slip Ophiuchus in, the medicine person, snake handler, in between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So that's just me. But we have still a base 12. It still works the same. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 already, 5, 6, and we were hitting 7. I'm marching through the months of the year and the zodiac signs there. And what each sign each month is doing is rising at that sign on the horizon at sunrise. And it does it for a month and it trades that time around 12 different zodiac signs because everything's shifting slowly. And each one gets a month's long turn, a moon cycle's turn to do their sunrise rising and that imprint at dawn because we know we take darkest dark awake at dawn. So of course each sign has a different way of doing that. And of course we have different amounts of light going with the constellation that does that. So the old ones of course know at this time of year, this constellation is the one wakening upon us, and this is the season on the earth. And of course, this and that for our anatomy, what our social behavior, our emotions, our spiritual journey, all the stories of that. They match the stars, look at that, and then on the earth, and everything is woven. Now, this just makes sense. This is funny how woo woo and discredited you will become if people will make if you bring that up in any kind of scientific setting here, but I'm a health practitioner. This is accurate. I have clinical experience, and I have the knowledge and training to back up this is real. Um, these systems, of course, are obvious. I mean, if you unpack them now, you would even remake them again. Look at the numbers. Like, for instance, one is has its own nature. You can see in every person, and then you look at Aries and the description of it, and you're like, oh yeah. Or if you look at two, you'll see Taurus. Have you been around the difficult side of a Taurus? We talk about the terrible twos. Have you? Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, the wonderfulness of toddlers. They're so amazing, and there's just this incredible strength and joy and amazingness. So, all of life flourishing through there. So, if you're a Taurus and you have the imprint of that energy, it's not only of that phase of lifehood, but that season of every year and that beginning of every month. Even this is the beginning energy, right? You're gonna have these energies of, if you're a 1 or a 2, of like these beginning, these. Mm, it has this robustness and this drive to it and beauty. I mean, Taurus, if you're gonna say if it's a day, if it's like mirrored over the day, like if you take the solar year, and put it over a day, it's the sunrise part is Taurus. It's so beautiful. It's so pretty and goes into breakfast and you're eating and the morning. I mean, between Aries and Taurus, it's just, I think between Pisces and Aries and Taurus is the best because I like the pre-dawn. I like the liminal space. So that's when mine starts. So I have 13 signs and mine starts at Pisces and 12th house. I'm a 12th house Pisces sun. So that's kind of crazy, eh? Aries rising. That's what happens. Yeah, so I do like to roll that way. It's true. I get up and then I kind of start in Pisces, the pre-dawn, darkest dark, and then it rolls into the sun, and then watch the stars, and then make the stories of it, and the stargates there at dawn. That's what they did too, and so it does show how we catalyze everything out of its own darkest dark into its dawn, and that happens every moment. We take a breath, and everything is in a huge transit, cycles upon cycles of that, and we can track it, and we do, and that's what it is. But so you have to understand, I guess, these groupings. Like, do you know how there's 3 different qualities of energy in astrology? It's called cardinal, which are the beginners, fixed, which are the stabilizers, and mutable. And of the cardinals, we got Aries holding the spring equinox, opposite Libra holding the fall equinox, perpendicular on a crossroads with the 4th and 10th house of Cancer and Capricorn, and we have them holding the solstices of summer and winter. And this family holds the equinox solstice. They're very good at holding structure and catalyzing. This crossroads is 1, 4, 7, and 10. 1, 4, 7, and 10. I'm doing that wrong. No, that's right. The first house is Aries. The fourth house, yeah, 1, 4, 7, and 10. And then the fixed would be 2, 6, 8, and 12. 2, 6, 8, and 11. 2, 7, 8, and 11. 2, 7, 8, and 11. I gotta look at this more. The third is the mutables, which is 3, 6, 9, and 12. And they actually are the 4 corners of the clock. And that's interesting because they're so odd, but they're such stabilizer sovereignty numbers, those numbers. The mutables are so interesting and odd, but also completely harmonious and containing everything. Look at that. 3, 6, 9, and 12. So those are the natures. So look at those numbers in those organizations and feel it out. Each one is a different element of their mode and their different quality of energy, and they're on a crossroads, and there's 3 different layers of them: body, mind, and spirit, nature. And man, the numbers are in there. Check it out. Puzzle it out yourself. I dare you.